Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Right, so tonight's show is, we all know that the mystery of this case is why we keep talking about it, isn't it? Because there was no trial, no conclusion, no proof, and a massive great cover-up. Oh yeah, a massive great cover-up. Now, you remember that Chrissy appeared on a lot of my shows, and she went on Dr. Oz and another inmate program, right? Well, I've noticed today that she's been scrubbed from the internet. You can find Dr. Oz interviewing Goodell, but the interview with Chrissy, where she says she thinks other people are involved, has been scrubbed. This is the extent the cover-up's gone to. They've even scrubbed our supporter, Chrissy, out of existence. You go and try to find it. You know she was on Dr. Oz and also that documentary. Gone. Absolutely gone.
Krista admits that being intrigued by famous criminals is in her DNA.
My mother was always fascinated with Charles Manson from when she was younger. I do think my mom was drawn to my dad because he looked so much like him. Before she met my father, she was on her way to go to the Manson family to live on the ranch with Charles Manson. And then she saw my dad, and my dad saw her, and they just hit it off. It's pretty interesting because my mom did stand up for Charles Manson through all that, and I'm standing up for Chris Watts.
Now, the only one who ever said that Chris didn't act alone on social media, not social media, we say it, on mainstream media, it's been taken down. So I guess they've been got at.
In my hand, I hold just some of the messages notorious killer Chris Watts sent to women who've written to him in prison since he pleaded guilty to murdering his pregnant wife and 2 little girls. Some are true crime buffs, convinced they've uncovered a conspiracy. Others are concerned moms, trying to understand what caused a seemingly loving dad to commit unthinkable evil. And some are prison groupies, looking for love with the infamous inmate. Today, in an Oz Show exclusive, I'm sitting down with one of the women who's been accused of pursuing a romantic relationship with Chris Watts. Was she really part of a prison love triangle? And what did she learn about this truly disturbing father? I'm joined now by Krista, who began communicating with Chris Watts a year and a half ago. So, Krista, what made you want to write a letter to a convicted murderer?
When I saw the case presented online and on the media, initially I assumed he was a monster and he did this. And then as I looked into the case more, I just, from watching the videos and how he interacted with his wife and children, there just was something there. And I just had this feeling that he did not commit this crime. And that's one of the main reasons I decided to write to him.
Chris, I'm sort of still lost. You're corresponding with someone who's in prison. Do you have any relationships to prisons?
I do. I grew up after 9 years old for a couple of years. My father was in federal prison in Allen, Pennsylvania. So every weekend was trips down to Pennsylvania from Connecticut, phone calls, collect calls. We'd have to be home at a certain time, letters. We'd have to write letters back to my dad. So my life consisted of that, very young, going to prisons. And then I decided to work in them after seeing the treatment my father received. Not saying my dad is innocent because he admitted to his crimes. I just had a different perspective, and I wanted to help people.
So he didn't respond to you directly, at least at first. He gave your letter to another inmate there, a gentleman named Dylan Talman.
Yeah.
And you eventually got engaged to Dylan.
I did.
How did your letters lead to that?
Well, when I wrote to Chris, he gave the letter to Dylan and the picture that I sent. And then Dylan wrote back explaining that Chris was involved with somebody and he gets a lot of letters every day. And he started writing to me. And then I continued writing with Dylan and I didn't reach out to Chris again.
So you She broke off your engagement.
Yes.
Just to get everyone on the same
Yes.
page. Partially, I'm hearing because Dylan thought you were more interested in Chris than him.
Yes, and that's not true. There was no love triangle at all. I had no interest in Chris in that way, not romantically at all.
So I'm going to show the audience a photo that you did send to Chris.
Absolutely.
And this is in the first letter, and people, when they see this photo, are going to think it's proof that you were trying to romantically pursue him.
Yeah, no.
You were not trying to date Chris Watts?
I was not. Absolutely not.
And why include the picture of yourself?
I wanted him to know who he was speaking to. The letter I sent was very informal. I didn't talk anything clinical to him for my profession. I just wanted to talk to him as a friend and tell him that there are people that don't feel that he either completely did this or did it at all.
So Chris Watts was recently called the most hated man in his prison.
Yes.
And there are probably a fair number of people in prisons that aren't liked. It's a harsh moniker.
Yes.
And you said that you eventually did get to talk to him. So I want to understand more about what's going on in his mind. He spoke a dozen times.
Yes.
You obviously have some insights here. So you've argued that he's funny on the phone. I don't think any of us have really seen that side of him.
He is. He was what you see in the videos is how he presents himself. He's very funny. He's kind. He has a dry sense of humor. And he appears to be very genuine.
Did he ever flirt with you?
Not at all. No, very respectful at all times.
Do you find him attractive?
I mean, I think he's a handsome gentleman. I think that we're a beautiful family. So, but not in a romantic way.
Has he done anything else or offered any evidence that he is falsely accused because he confessed to these crimes?
Oh, Dr. Oz, how I would love to get him up on the stand on cross-examination when he says procedural errors, coerced behavior, injustice. What injustice? What procedural error? It seems to throw out legal terms he's learned in the jailhouse library, but there's nothing to support it. Let me remind everybody, he took a guilty plea. This is another lie by Chris Watts to manipulate women. And I got a lot to say about that too, Oz.
Well, let's get to that. What is it about Chris Watts that attracts this type of attention?
Number one, some people think he's physically attractive. Not me. I think he's a killer. He looks like the devil to me because I know what he did. But you got to look at these women. No offense to Krista or all the other women writing Chris Watts. Some of them are insecure. To some women, he's a martyr and wrongfully convicted. To others, he tells them the gory details because they want to hear it. Then you have your run-of-the-mill fame seekers. They're all misled.
Actually, we brought this up, but I'm going to touch on it again. I've interviewed another woman who wrote to Chris Watts. Her name is Sherilyn Cato, and she's a grandmother. And she wrote because she wanted to understand why he would do these heinous things. And in one letter to her, he wrote in detail about killing his family. To your point, you can see the handwriting, by the way, appears the same in the letter to her and the letters that Krista gave us. I'm going to pull out just one word. Just look at the word family, right? Does it look pretty similar, like the same person wrote?
Oh, my goodness. This is the same handwriting.
Right. So in one letter, he's saying, I did something horrible. And the other one, he says, I'm innocent. So what you're pointing out, I think, comes to bear.
My point is, he is conning these women. And this is the deal. When you don't know a horse, Oz, look at the track record. He has manipulated Shanann. I'm giving myself chill bumps right now. Shanann loved him so much. And according to evidence, she was praying to God when he strangled her after he had sex with her, by the way. He had sex with her, then he killed her. Oh. Then he killed his two little girls. One of them saying, Daddy, no. I'm working up to a point, Oz. Just go with me. Then they are taken out to Anadarko, where he worked. They were crammed, forced down into oil containers, forced. The opening was 8 inches. It tore the skin off of those little girls, ages 3 and 4, shoulders. And as they marinated in that oil, they were de-sleeved. That's a nice way of saying their skin came off. He sent his wife to a shallow grave where she had coffin birth, Oz. She expelled baby Nico. Yes, she gave birth, coffin birth, into her underwear in the dirt. That is what he did. Why is that significant? Why do I bring up those details? I don't enjoy them. I'm not some ghoul. I bring them up because his confessions fit perfectly with the forensic evidence. Why does he know the details? Because he committed the crimes. And by God in heaven, I will not stand by and let somebody blame Shanann Watts or any other innocent person for what he did.
That's I'd never heard some of those details. Nancy, they are gruesome.
And that's the tip of the iceberg, Oz, the tip of the iceberg.
Let me bring in forensic psychologist and author of Evil Thoughts, Wicked Deeds, because that's what we're talking about, Dr. Chris Bahandi. Chris, what does getting all these love letters and other communications do to the head of a prisoner like Chris Watts?
Feeds his ego, keeps his game going. He can still have his hustle. You know, when he was up there, he had his, had his wife, he had his mistress, he's leading a double life, and he's able to get all of that admiration, that adulation to gratify his needs. He's still doing it from prison with these, I would call them victims. He's still got victims out there that he's manipulating. He's an opportunist. This is what he does.
You can't say anything at NK, can you? You just can't. Interesting. I thought you'd find that interesting to know. Okay. So that's what's happened to social media. Chrissy can no longer appear anywhere because of all the hate. I don't blame her. Like a lot of people, she's been chased off, like Mary Marlowe, Audrey, me. I've been chased off, really. You're only seeing the remnants of me now. I can't get the support I used to get because I've been marginalized, am I? So.
There's something wrong with your story, but I can't put my finger on it. Oh, it's all lies, every word of it.
It doesn't help when creators who are supposed to be on our side can't help being jealous and not understanding that I've been here 4 years. Grow up, stop it, don't talk about me, stay out of my road, don't poke the bear, or I will. I've got some pictures. And he knows I've got these pictures. Stop talking about me right away, or I will strike back. I think you get the message. Probably one of your own moderators might want some of these pictures. I don't know. I won't go any further. I don't want to go any further. Please stop. This is your final, not a warning, promise. Stop.
Blackmail is such an ugly word. I prefer extortion. The X makes it sound cool.